Elias opened his eyes to darkness. The air smelled cold, metallic, and stale. At first he thought he was dreaming, but the steady hum of machinery told him he was awake, somehow. His body ached from long rest, a deep stiffness that went beyond sleep. He tried to move, but his limbs felt heavy. The last thing he remembered was stepping into a cryogenic pod, a temporary sleep that was supposed to last only centuries, not millennia. He forced himself upright. The pod hissed and unlocked, doors sliding open with a groan. Outside, the room was quiet, eerily quiet. The lights flickered, weakly illuminating a place he once knew. Or thought he did. The facility was in ruins. Panels hung from walls, wires snaked across the floor, and dust coated every surface. His heart pounded. Something had changed. Not just time, but everything. Elias stumbled out of the pod chamber and into the main hallway. Memories of the old world flashed in his mind. The bustling cryolabs, scientists walking quickly, screens filled with information about human expansion, colonization, and survival. And now only silence, only emptiness. He activated his portable scanner, a small device attached to his wrist. It flickered to life, showing readings of minimal power sources and automated systems still functioning. Some lights blinked in the distance, a reminder that whatever technology humans had created could last far longer than their creators. But humans themselves, he could find no trace. With cautious steps he moved through the facility. He passed abandoned workstations, papers yellowed beyond recognition, and cryopods long since emptied. The realization hit him slowly. Humans were gone, not just missing for a few centuries, but gone entirely. 15,000 years had passed while he slept. 15,000 years. The number weighed on him like a mountain. Elias reached the observation deck, the large windows revealing the outside world. What he saw made him stop in awe. Nature had returned, reclaiming what humans once took. Forests sprawled over cities, roots twisting through concrete, and vines climbing the skeletons of skyscrapers. Rivers ran freely where streets once were. The air looked clean, almost untouched. Birds, or creatures resembling them, flew in flocks that glimmered with strange colors. A strange mix of sadness and wonder filled him. The human world he knew had vanished, but life had continued, adapting in ways he could hardly imagine. He activated his comm device, hoping for contact with any human survivors. Nothing. Static. Then silence. Not even a signal from the colonies humans had built on other planets. It was as if the universe had whispered humanity away, leaving only traces of their existence. Determined not to lose hope, Elias explored further. The facility's archives still contained digital records. He accessed the main database, scrolling through holographic files. Images of cities, spacecraft, and human faces appeared and faded. Reports of interstellar colonization, AI development, and experiments with longevity flashed before him. But then there were sudden gaps. Records ended abruptly. Files became corrupted. A sense of mystery and loss filled him. Something had happened to humanity, something he could not yet understand. As he delved deeper into the archives, a faint signal caught his attention. Unlike the rest, it seemed active, pulsing with a low, steady rhythm. Curious, he followed the signal's trail on his scanner, moving cautiously through corridors that twisted like a maze. He passed abandoned labs, broken machines, and storage rooms filled with remnants of technology long forgotten. Finally, he reached a control room. The signal came from a console buried under dust and debris. Elias wiped it clean, his fingers trembling with anticipation. The screen flickered to life, revealing a message left long ago, a warning or perhaps a clue. The words were fragmented but clear enough. Seek the heart of the lost. Beyond the ruins, survival awaits. Elias stared at the message, trying to make sense of it. Was it meant for him? Or had it been left for someone else, someone who never came? He didn't know. But something stirred inside him, a spark of purpose, the need to discover what had become of humanity. He left the facility, stepping into the outside world. The sun, or what remained of it behind a hazy sky, cast long shadows across a landscape both beautiful and alien. The streets were cracked and overgrown, vehicles rusting where they had been abandoned. He walked through the silent city, the wind carrying whispers of a time long past. Everywhere he looked, he saw reminders of human ambition, statues worn down by time, libraries with pages crumbling to dust, and machines that had once built and maintained this world. Now they were silent or moving slowly, some powered by residual energy, some by unknown forces. Elias realized that humanity had built wonders, but even wonders could not last forever. Yet the world was not empty. Strange plants and animals thrived, some of them appearing almost intelligent. They moved in patterns that suggested adaptation, survival, and resilience. Elias marveled at them, understanding that life in some form always found a way. As night fell, he made a small camp on the rooftop of a tall building. From there, he could see the city stretching endlessly, a mixture of nature and human remnants. Stars dotted the sky, and somewhere among them, human colonies might still exist. Somewhere, life might continue in ways he could not yet imagine. Lying on the rooftop, Elias felt a mixture of loneliness and determination. He was the last of his kind in this world, perhaps in the galaxy. Yet he was alive. He had knowledge, tools, and the drive to discover what had happened. The message in the archives haunted him, urging him to seek, to explore, to uncover the truth. As he drifted into a restless sleep, he dreamed of the past, cities alive with people, laughter, and discovery. And he dreamed of the future, of stars beyond reach, and perhaps of humanity waiting to be found again. For the first time in 15,000 years, Elias felt a spark of hope. He did not know what awaited him, or whether he would find another human or if humanity was truly gone, but he knew one thing: he would not give up. The world outside was silent, but it was alive. And so was he. Elias stepped carefully into the city below. From his rooftop vantage point, he had seen the vast streets now cracked and overgrown with wild vegetation. Trees grew through buildings and roots twisted around concrete, lifting slabs of pavement like a giant's hands reshaping the land. Silence hung heavy, broken only by the distant rustle of leaves or the flutter of strange birds. He moved cautiously, scanning the surroundings. Machines still hummed faintly in the distance, lights blinking on panels embedded in abandoned structures. Some of the larger machines, once designed to construct skyscrapers or maintain infrastructure, still operated slowly, methodically, as if continuing a task from thousands of years ago. Elias marveled at them. Even in humanity's absence, the world carried traces of its creators. His first steps on the cracked street felt strange. The air smelled earthy, a mixture of moss, wet soil, and rust. He brushed aside a low-hanging vine and nearly stumbled over a rusted vehicle. Its design was ancient, but the faded emblem suggested it had been part of the city's transportation network. As he examined it, a spark of sadness crossed him. Humanity had built these wonders, yet now none remained to use them. Elias's portable scanner detected movement ahead. He froze. A group of small robots, perhaps maintenance units, approached slowly. They had no eyes or faces, just mechanical limbs and glowing panels. Some of their movements were jerky, corrupted by age, but others were surprisingly precise. One stopped near him, its sensors lighting up as if recognizing a human presence. "Hello?" Elias called cautiously, unsure if it would respond. The robot emitted a series of electronic sounds, and a soft voice spoke through its speaker. "Identity, human, unknown." Elias smiled faintly. Even after 15,000 years, some AI still remembered humans. "I'm Elias, I was asleep," he said. "Can you tell me—" "Where is everyone?" The robot hesitated, its movements stuttering. Then slowly it led him down a side street, away from the main boulevard. As they walked, Elias noticed more machines, some large, some small, continuing their programmed duties. A robotic crane lifted debris to rebuild a collapsed bridge, and drones buzzed overhead, inspecting buildings for structural damage. They were like caretakers of a dead world. The city's silence pressed on Elias. No laughter, no voices, no human sound, just the soft hum of machines and the wind brushing through leaves. Yet the careful movements of the robots reminded him of humanity's ingenuity. Even gone, humans had left behind legacies that endured, proof that their reach could extend beyond their own lifespan. Eventually, the robot led him to a building with intact walls and a partially functioning entrance. Inside, the air was cooler, and faint light came from solar panels that had survived centuries. The room was filled with digital terminals and storage units, some still flickering with low power. Elias approached one of the terminals and wiped away the dust. Holographic data appeared, revealing fragments of human history. He watched images of bustling cities, spacecraft launching into orbit, and humans exploring distant planets. The archives detailed technological achievements, medical advancements, and even experiments to extend life. But then the files grew sparse, corrupted, ending abruptly. Somewhere humanity had vanished. Elias's heart sank. He had hoped to find at least some record of what happened, maybe a warning or a clue. But the answers were incomplete, leaving more questions than certainty. Still, he felt a growing resolve. Humanity had left a trail, however faint. If he could follow it, perhaps he could uncover the truth. He turned his attention to a nearby storage unit. Its door was rusted but gave way under his hands. Inside were personal artifacts, books, clothes, photographs. He picked up a small photo of a family smiling, unaware that their world would one day vanish. A wave of grief washed over him. For 15,000 years, no one had lived to remember these people, and now he was alone to carry their memory. As night approached, Elias left the building and moved toward a central plaza. Skyscrapers loomed overhead, some collapsed, others leaning precariously. Vines crept along steel beams and roots split concrete like time itself was reshaping the city. Among the ruins, he saw a faint glow, a small machine still functioning, holding a flickering holographic message. Elias approached it cautiously. The message was old, probably automated, repeating a simple warning. Do not enter unstable sectors. Safety protocols active. The machine's voice was faint, but its instructions were clear. Nearby, a large section of a building had collapsed, creating a dangerous obstacle. He assessed the rubble carefully. With the help of his tools, he began navigating the unstable sector. Loose beams shifted under his weight and dust fell from ceilings, creating clouds that made it hard to see. He moved slowly, relying on balance and instinct, understanding that one wrong step could trap him under tons of debris. Halfway through, a section of rubble gave way, sending him sliding down a narrow passage. He grabbed onto a support beam just in time, heart pounding. For a moment he thought he might not make it. But Elias was determined. Survival had been humanity's greatest skill, and in this strange new world he would need that same skill to continue. Finally, he reached the other side of the rubble, exhausted but unharmed. As he caught his breath, he noticed something extraordinary. A small, overgrown garden inside what had once been a corporate atrium. Nature had reclaimed it completely, but it was alive in ways he had never seen. Flowers of strange colors, insects with translucent wings, and small creatures skittering among the roots. Elias paused, marveling at the resilience of life. Humanity might be gone, but life persisted. Even in the ruins of human achievement, the planet had healed, creating a world both familiar and alien. He set up a temporary camp in the garden, using a hollowed tree as shelter. From there, he could observe the city, the machines and the creatures moving silently in the night. He reflected on what he had seen. The automated caretakers, the digital archives, and the traces of a civilization that had reached for the stars. Humanity had built wonders, and some of those wonders endured. As he prepared to rest, his scanner picked up the faint signal again. It pulsed intermittently, coming from the direction of what used to be the city's central hub. Elias's curiosity surged. Whatever was sending the signal might hold answers about why humans had disappeared, and perhaps clues to their final destination. Sleep came reluctantly, with the city stretching endlessly below him. In his dreams, Elias saw the past. Humans walking crowded streets, machines humming with purpose, and the sky filled with ships leaving Earth behind. And he saw the future, a journey beyond the silent city toward the stars, and toward the possibility that humanity's spirit still survived somewhere, waiting to be found. When he awoke, the first light of day illuminated the ruined city. Dust particles danced in golden beams, and the hum of machines continued steadily, oblivious to time. Elias packed his camp and began moving toward the source of the signal, determined to follow the trail wherever it led. Every step was heavy with uncertainty, but also with hope. He did not know if he would find other humans or if humanity was truly gone. Yet the traces left behind, the machines, the archives, the faint signals, promised that the world still held secrets. And Elias intended to uncover them all. The silent city stretched endlessly, a testament to human ingenuity and nature's reclamation. And through it all, Elias walked, carrying the memory of a vanished civilization and the determination to discover what had become of it. Elias had followed the faint signal for hours, winding through streets overtaken by nature. The city seemed endless, yet each step revealed new wonders and mysteries. Broken robots continued their work. Drones hovered overhead with flickering lights, and vines climbed the skeletons of buildings like living veins. Though humans were gone, their presence lingered in every corner, every machine, every structure. The source of the signal led him to a massive tower at the city's heart. Once it had been a hub of communication, a place where messages traveled across continents and into space. Now it was partially collapsed, vines curling around the steel beams, yet its main antenna still stood tall, pointing toward the stars. The signal grew stronger as Elias approached, pulsing rhythmically like a heartbeat. Inside the tower, he discovered a control room filled with blinking panels and holographic displays. Dust covered most of the surfaces, but one terminal still glowed, its screen projecting a map of the solar system. Dots and lines traced paths between planets, moons, and distant space stations. Elias realized with awe that this signal was not just local, it originated from beyond Earth. He activated the terminal, fingers shaking with anticipation. The interface responded slowly, pulling fragmented data from millennia-old archives. Images of massive spacecraft, interstellar colonies, and human settlements in distant star systems appeared and faded. The history of humanity stretched far beyond the Earth he had known. Elias stared at the screen, absorbing the enormity of it. Humans had left their home planet long ago, spreading to worlds far and wide. Some had settled on planets with breathable atmospheres, while others had adapted to harsh environments using advanced technology and genetic modification. Humanity had not vanished. They had changed, evolved, and dispersed among the stars. A warning flashed on the screen. Colony communications lost. Systems offline. Investigation required. Elias felt a shiver. Something had gone wrong. The colonies humans had built were now dark, silent, or abandoned. He could not tell whether the collapse had been caused by internal conflict, cosmic disaster, or something else entirely. Determined, he searched for clues about the last known locations of these colonies. He found coordinates pointing to distant star systems, far beyond the planets humans had once called home. Elias realized that if he wished to understand humanity's fate, he would have to leave Earth. The thought was both terrifying and exhilarating. Before leaving, he explored the tower further. Among the archives, he discovered a personal log from a scientist named Dr. Arya Venn, who had documented humanity's attempts to survive catastrophic events on Earth. Her words described courage, sacrifice, and relentless innovation. She wrote about humanity's hope to thrive beyond Earth, even when their homeworld seemed doomed. Elias read her final entry. "We must go. Earth cannot save us, but the stars can. If anyone finds this, know that humanity did not end here. Seek the colonies. Seek our future." Her words ignited something inside him. For the first time since awakening, Elias felt a clear sense of purpose. Humanity had survived, hidden among the stars. Somewhere out there his species was alive, perhaps facing challenges he could not yet imagine. He would find them. Elias began preparations for a journey beyond Earth. He returned to the facility where he had first awakened, searching for a spacecraft. The old hangars were partially collapsed, but among the ruins he found a vessel surprisingly intact. Dust and rust coated its surface, but the engines and systems still held residual power. Using his knowledge of engineering and the guidance of the AI drones, Elias worked tirelessly to repair the ship. He cleaned circuits, recalibrated engines, and updated navigation systems. The AI assistants, some functional, some malfunctioning, responded hesitantly to his commands, offering both help and occasional frustration. Yet step by step, the spacecraft came alive again, a testament to human ingenuity enduring even in the absence of humans. During the repairs, Elias discovered strange artifacts left behind by humans. Some were tools, some personal items, and others were more unusual. Maps, recordings, and devices designed to monitor distant planets. Each artifact told a story, echoing the lives of those who had come before him. Elias felt a connection to them, as if their knowledge and spirit were guiding him on his quest. Finally, the ship was ready. Elias boarded, checking systems one last time. The engines hummed to life, lights flickering as power surged through old circuits. The ship shuddered slightly, then stabilized. Elias took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. He was leaving the only home humanity had known for millennia, venturing into the vast unknown in search of those who had survived. As he launched, Earth receded beneath him, a blue-green jewel now silent and reclaimed by nature. Elias looked back once more, a mixture of sadness and admiration in his heart. Humanity's past was gone, but its future awaited in the stars. He guided the ship toward the coordinates of the first distant colony, anticipation and determination filling him. During the journey, Elias monitored signals from the ship's communication systems. Most were inactive, but a faint trace of energy hinted at life nearby. He also recorded his own observations, knowing that if humanity had truly survived, this knowledge might help him connect with them. He felt a growing awareness of responsibility, not just for himself but for the legacy of his species. Days passed as he traveled through space. Stars stretched endlessly before him and planets rotated silently in distant orbits. Elias marveled at the vastness, the beauty, and the isolation of the cosmos. He realized that humanity's reach had once been remarkable, yet vulnerable. Technology could extend life, but it could not guarantee survival without vigilance, wisdom, and unity. Along the way, he encountered remnants of human outposts. Some were partially destroyed, others abandoned entirely. He explored each one carefully, piecing together fragments of civilization. In one station, he found a library of digital archives, detailing the adaptation of humans to extreme environments. They had learned to live on frozen worlds, in oceans of liquid methane and under the skies of harsh radiation-filled planets. Humanity had become resourceful, creative, and resilient, yet there were signs of struggle. Messages left behind hinted at conflicts with alien species, environmental disasters, and failures of critical systems. Elias understood that survival in space was not guaranteed. Humanity had faced dangers beyond imagination, yet their determination had kept them alive. Finally, after navigating through asteroid belts and abandoned space stations, Elias detected a faint but consistent signal. It matched the pattern he had seen on Earth. He adjusted the ship's course, hearts pounding with hope. The signal led him to a small planet, its surface partially terraformed, its atmosphere thin but breathable with assistance. Landing carefully, Elias stepped out onto the alien soil. The sky was a muted shade of orange, and the landscape was dotted with human-made structures, partially overgrown but functional. Life signs flickered faintly in his instruments. Other humans might still be here. As he explored, Elias encountered beings who looked human, but had subtle differences. Their skin had adapted to the planet's sunlight, and some bore mechanical enhancements to survive in the environment. They were cautious, observing him from a distance. Elias approached slowly, raising his hands in peace. One of them stepped forward, a woman with bright eyes and an aura of authority. "Who are you?" she asked. Her voice was steady but curious, the same mix of caution and hope he had felt when awakening on Earth. "My name is Elias," he replied. I came from Earth. I've been asleep for a very long time. I want to know. What happened to humanity?" The woman studied him, then nodded slowly. "You've come a long way. Humanity, it survived. We adapted, we scattered, and we learned to endure. But not all of us remained together. You have much to learn, Elias, and much to see." For the first time, he felt a surge of joy and purpose. Humanity was not gone. It had endured, grown, and changed. The journey that began on a silent, overgrown Earth had led him to a living testament of human resilience. Elias knew that this was only the beginning. There were other colonies, other humans, and other challenges waiting in the vast expanse of space. But for now, he stood among his kind, feeling the strength and spirit of humanity that had survived 15,000 years of silence. He smiled, a sense of hope and determination filling his heart. The stars were no longer distant. Humanity's future was alive, and he would help ensure it continued. Elias stood on the surface of the alien planet, gazing up at the sky. The orange sunlight stretched across the horizon, casting long shadows over partially terraformed fields and human-made structures. Though the settlement had been abandoned in some areas, the faint signs of life indicated that humans had adapted to this world. Yet his journey was far from over. The faint signals he had followed hinted at other colonies, others who had survived the silent years. He returned to his ship, meticulously checking its systems. The engines had held well, But deep space travel required precision. He recalibrated navigation systems and adjusted the course toward the coordinates he had gathered from the last colony's archives. Beyond this planet lay uncharted space, filled with both danger and discovery. As the ship ascended, Elias marveled at the planet's beauty from orbit. Rivers, mountains, and forests stretched endlessly, reclaiming the scars humans had once left. The silence of the world below reminded him of Earth, the way nature endured even when humanity faltered. He felt a sense of humility. Humanity's achievements were remarkable, but the universe was vast and survival required both courage and wisdom. Days passed as he traveled through the void. The stars stretched endlessly, glittering points of light against the black canvas of space. Elias passed abandoned satellites and derelict ships, remnants of civilizations that had reached beyond their worlds only to fall silent. Each discovery reminded him that even in triumph, vulnerability remained. Humanity had endured, but the path ahead was uncertain. During his journey, he encountered cosmic hazards. Asteroid fields blocked the route to the next colony, their jagged rocks spinning silently through space. He navigated carefully, relying on both instruments and instinct. One miscalculation could destroy the ship and end his quest before it truly began. The tension was relentless, yet Elias remained focused, drawing strength from the thought of the humans he sought. In the midst of a dense asteroid cluster, the ship shuddered violently. Sensors warned of a large object on a collision course. Elias took immediate action, adjusting thrusters and maneuvering between massive rocks. Debris scraped the hull, leaving marks that testified to the dangers of space travel. But after tense minutes, he emerged on the other side, heart pounding. He realized that the universe tested those who dared to explore it, but perseverance could carry them through. Finally, the signals led him to a distant star system. Its planets glowed faintly in the darkness, some with thin atmospheres, others covered in ice or storms. He scanned each world carefully, searching for signs of human activity. One planet in particular stood out, a small rocky world with structures barely visible through the haze of clouds. Sensors detected faint life signs. Elias knew this was a colony, or at least a place where humans had attempted to survive. Landing cautiously, he found himself on a barren landscape dotted with structures adapted to harsh conditions. Domed habitats, solar arrays, and water collection systems indicated ingenuity and resourcefulness. Life was fragile here, yet humans had endured, shaping their environment to survive against the odds. Elias stepped out of the ship feeling both awe and relief. Humanity's resilience never ceased to amaze him. As he explored the colony, he encountered the descendants of humans. Their appearance was familiar, yet subtly different. Skin adapted to harsh sunlight, eyes that adjusted to dim or bright conditions, and some with mechanical enhancements to survive the environment. They were cautious, watching him from a distance, unsure whether he was friend or foe. Elias approached slowly, speaking in a calm, reassuring tone. "I come from Earth. My name is Elias. I have been searching for humanity." A woman stepping forward as the apparent leader studied him carefully. "Earth, you mean the original planet?" she asked. Her tone carried awe, disbelief, and curiosity. "Yes," Elias replied. "I have traveled across the stars to find you. I need to understand what happened to our people, how humanity survived." The woman nodded slowly, lowering her guard. "You are far from home, Elias. Few have made the journey between colonies in so long. Our history, it is fragmented, scattered across worlds, but we have endured. Come, we will explain." Inside the colony's main habitat, Elias learned the story. Humanity had faced challenges beyond comprehension. Cosmic storms, alien encounters, and internal conflicts that threatened survival. Yet humans adapted, combining technology, environmental engineering, and cooperative effort. Each colony had evolved differently, shaped by its planet's conditions, yet the common thread remained: a desire to survive, to endure, and to thrive. The lessons were both inspiring and humbling. Humanity had not simply survived, it had evolved. They had learned to live in harmony with alien worlds, sometimes merging biological and mechanical systems, sometimes depending on ingenuity and perseverance. Elias felt pride swell in his chest. His species had endured against impossible odds, and he was witnessing it firsthand. But the journey was not yet complete. The colony revealed that many other human settlements remained, scattered across the galaxy, some thriving, some struggling. Communication between them had been lost over centuries. Elias realized that reconnecting humanity would be a monumental task, but it was one worth pursuing. Determined, he began mapping the locations of other colonies using both archival data and the colony's navigational resources. Each coordinate represented hope, a chance to reunite the fragments of human civilization. The universe was vast, yet he had found the first thread, and from it, he could begin weaving a new tapestry of human unity. The colony also shared knowledge of alien artifacts and technology they had encountered. Elias studied the maps and logs, learning how humans had adapted, integrated, or avoided alien systems. Some encounters had been dangerous, others transformative, yet all had contributed to humanity's survival. He understood that his journey was as much about understanding these lessons as it was about finding humans. Elias prepared to depart again, his ship loaded with supplies, maps, and knowledge gathered from the colony. He said farewell to the people he had met, promising to return once he had traced the remaining colonies. Their eyes held hope and trust, placing the responsibility of humanity's reconnection on his shoulders. As the ship left the planet, Elias gazed at the stars ahead. Each one represented a possible home, a place where humans had carved a life against impossible odds. The universe was no longer silent to him. It was alive with stories, challenges, and opportunities. Humanity's journey was far from over, and he would be a part of it. Through the long hours of travel, Elias reflected on what he had seen. Survival required adaptation, cooperation, and resilience. Humanity had mastered these qualities in diverse ways across planets and star systems. The spirit of exploration, courage, and hope persisted, even in the absence of the old world. Elias realized that being human was not just about biology or origin. It was about spirit, determination, and the desire to endure against the impossible. Finally, after days of travel, he approached a dense nebula, a swirling cloud of cosmic dust and light. Sensors picked up faint signals from structures hidden within the nebula. Could this be another colony? Another fragment of humanity waiting to be found? Elias's pulse quickened. The answers he sought were close, yet danger was inevitable. Nebulas hid many hazards, radiation, gravitational anomalies, and debris that could destroy an unprepared ship. Steeling himself, Elias piloted carefully, navigating through the colorful chaos of gas and dust. The ship shuddered as magnetic fields tugged at it, but he persisted. Deep in the nebula, he saw faint structures, human habitats partially shielded by the cosmic cloud. Signals confirmed life, albeit small and isolated. Elias prepared to make contact. Whatever awaited him, he knew he could not turn back. Humanity's story had been scattered across the stars, and he was determined to trace every thread. With careful precision, he guided the ship toward the settlement, ready to discover new chapters of his species' incredible journey. Elias's ship glided silently toward the settlement hidden within the nebula. The cloud of cosmic dust and gas shimmered in colors he had never seen, painting the universe in brilliant hues of red, gold, and violet. The faint signals had led him here, a fragile thread connecting him to humanity's scattered legacy. His heart pounded with anticipation. After traveling across the stars, he was about to meet humans who had survived where Earth could no longer sustain them. The settlement was small but organized, built into the rocky surface of a barren planet with protective domes that filtered harsh radiation. Solar collectors and water recycling systems hummed quietly, indicating ongoing life. Elias adjusted the ship's approach carefully, avoiding magnetic disturbances and floating debris. Every system was tested, every movement deliberate. After 15,000 years, he had learned that space rewarded patience and precision. Stepping out of the ship, Elias felt the gravity of the moment. He was the first human from Earth to reach this colony in millennia. The inhabitants watched from a distance, cautious but curious. Humans, yes, but not quite as he remembered. Their skin bore subtle adaptations to the planet's environment, and many had mechanical enhancements, tools fused with flesh to survive harsh conditions. Yet their eyes held the same curiosity, the same spark he remembered from his own kind. A woman stepped forward, her gait confident, her expression serious but welcoming. "You are from Earth," she said, her voice carrying both disbelief and hope. "We've long wondered if anyone remained there. I am Lyra, leader of this colony. Who are you?" "My name is Elias," he replied. I have traveled across the stars to find humanity. I've seen the ruins of Earth and I've followed the traces of our people. I want to know how we survived and what became of us." Lyra studied him carefully. Then, as if deciding something, she gestured for him to follow. "You will see. But know this, survival has not been simple. We are not the same as those who once walked Earth. Humanity has changed, adapted, and endured in ways you cannot yet imagine." Inside the main habitat, Elias saw evidence of resilience. The colony was modest but functional, with communal areas, laboratories, and living quarters connected by reinforced corridors. Solar arrays and small greenhouses provided food and energy, while domed walls shielded the colony from storms and radiation. Technology blended seamlessly with biology. Humans had adapted not just to survive but to thrive in a challenging environment. Lyra introduced him to the Council, a group of humans who had maintained the colony for generations. They explained that centuries ago, communications with Earth and other colonies had been lost due to cosmic events and system failures. Some settlements had survived independently, developing unique ways to adapt to their worlds. Others had failed, leaving ruins scattered across distant planets. Humanity had endured, but in isolation each fragment had grown in its own way. Elias listened, absorbing every detail. The story of his species filled him with awe. Humans had learned to terraform planets, harness alien resources, and integrate technology directly into their bodies. They had faced threats from hostile environments, cosmic radiation, and alien species. Yet their spirit persisted. It was not mere survival. It was evolution driven by determination, intelligence, and hope. The Council led Elias to a central archive, where holographic records displayed maps of other colonies. Some were thriving, others struggling, but all were alive in some form. Elias realized the enormity of his mission, reconnecting humanity, tracing each settlement, and ensuring that the knowledge of the past would not be lost. The task was monumental, yet he felt a fierce determination. He was no longer alone. In the following days, Elias explored the colony further. He observed children playing in the artificial parks, adults tending to hydroponic gardens, and engineers repairing energy systems. Life here was adapted, different, yet unmistakably human. The spirit of curiosity, creativity, and cooperation persisted. Elias understood that humanity was not defined by origin alone, but by resilience and ingenuity. The colony also revealed technologies and artifacts from Earth. Some had been preserved for centuries, others replicated using local materials. Elias marveled at the continuity of knowledge, the way humans had preserved their heritage even as they evolved into something new. It was a testament to the enduring power of human intellect and culture. Elias was invited to share his story. He spoke of Earth's ruins, the silent cities, and the traces of life he had discovered along the way. The colonists listened intently, absorbing each word. They had never seen the old Earth, and his experiences connected them to their origin. For the first time in millennia, fragments of humanity were reconnecting, bridging the gap between past and present. But reunion was not without challenges. The Council discussed dangers still lurking in distant systems, cosmic storms, unstable planets, and unknown alien species. While humanity had endured, Elias realized that survival required constant vigilance, cooperation, and adaptation. The task ahead was not simply exploration, it was ensuring the continuity of civilization. Elias spent hours in the colony's archives, plotting courses to other human settlements. Each coordinate represented a new opportunity to reconnect, to share knowledge, and to strengthen the threads of human survival. He envisioned a network, a galactic community of humans united not by proximity but by purpose. The dream that Dr. Aria Venn had left behind was alive again, tangible and achievable. Weeks passed as he traveled between nearby settlements, each journey revealing new wonders and challenges. He encountered humans adapted to icy planets, desert worlds, and high-radiation environments. Some had enhanced vision, others mechanical limbs, yet all bore the unmistakable traits of curiosity, ingenuity, and perseverance. Humanity had survived not by remaining the same, but by evolving while retaining its essence. During one mission, Elias discovered a colony on a planet surrounded by floating crystalline structures. The settlement's inhabitants had learned to harvest energy from these crystals, creating a sustainable power source. Elias observed their methods, amazed at human adaptability. The lessons he learned were invaluable, offering insights not only into survival but also into the resilience of culture and knowledge. Back at Lyra's colony, he began organizing plans to share knowledge and reconnect colonies across systems. Communications were restored gradually, links established between worlds that had been isolated for centuries. Humans began to recognize one another, share stories, and learn from each other's experiences. The spark of unity began to ignite a new era for humanity. Elias reflected on the journey that had brought him here. 15,000 years of silence, Earth reclaimed by nature, and yet humanity endured across the stars. The ruins he had explored were not the end. They were the beginning of a story renewed by courage, intelligence, and hope. Humanity had faced extinction, and instead of succumbing, it had adapted and thrived one evening. As Elias stood on the colony's observation deck, he looked at the stars stretching endlessly beyond the nebula. He felt a profound sense of connection, to the humans who had built Earth, to those who had survived on distant planets, and to the generations yet to come. The galaxy was vast, yet the threads of humanity now stretched across it stronger than ever. Lyra joined him, her gaze following his. "You have brought hope," she said quietly. "Humanity needed someone to remember, to reconnect. You've done more than survive, Elias. You've reminded us of who we are." Elias smiled, feeling the weight of his journey lift. "We've all survived," he said. "And now we can build together. The past is gone, but the future is ours." As night fell over the colony, lights flickered across habitats, greenhouses, and workshops. Children laughed in the corridors, engineers worked on new projects, and the stars shone brightly overhead. Humanity was reborn, not as it had been, but as it was meant to be, resilient, adaptive, and united. Elias knew the journey was far from over. Other colonies awaited discovery, challenges remained, and the universe still held dangers. But for the first time in 15,000 years, he felt certain that humanity's spirit could endure anything. The silence of Earth was no longer the end. Across the stars, humanity thrived. And Elias, once alone in a ruined world, now stood among his kind, a witness to a legacy that had survived time itself. The galaxy was vast, the stars infinite, and humanity's story was just beginning.